I am here. I assume nobody can hear me at this point, which we're good on my end.
And I
Okay.
think we're good on my end as well now. All right. Can you let us know in the chat if you can hear us? We
Yeah.
apologize. Damn.
Sorry about that. That's not the best
No,
look, but I guess we got to figure it out now.
that's not the
Okay.
way. No, that's not the way we want to start this off.
No.
But
All right.
we are unveiling some new technical some new things here with this new live stream. You got it.
Some new toys.
Yep.
Um, what we were talking about was Elijah Mitchell. What I assume at this point that was missed by most. Um, Mitchell's still a good ad from last week. You spent a lot of foul on him, so congrats on that.
Too much
But
fab, but
too
gotta
much.
deal with
But
it.
week 3, he's looking like he's going to carry the load. Trey Sermon, JaMychal Hasty set to miss the game, or trending to miss the game. They haven't been ruled out yet, but it doesn't seem to be good news. So he's looking like a good ad. Just from last week with waivers, few names who are probably already on rosters, but if they aren't, then prioritize them. I mean, I said Sterling Shepard last week. At this point, he should be on rosters. 13 fantasy points in half PPR last week. Off to an incredible start, looking like one of the best values if he was drafted. Looking one of the best values of the draft. Tony Pollard should be on rosters at this point. Zach Moss should be on rosters.
Yep.
Marquise Brown, he's getting that Hollywood nickname back right now. He should be on rosters. Marvin Jones. All of these guys should be on rosters. If they're not, get them. If there might be some lesser owned names. Oh, I would also include Sony Michel. I would include Sony Michel on this list. If he's on the wire, which is less likely, but possible, he's the top waiver ad this week. Obviously, Darrell Henderson is nursing an injury.
Yep.
His
Yet
status
another
is
blow to that Rams backfield. I mean,
yeah, his
they
status
just
is in
cannot
question.
Catch a break. Second to the Ravens over here.
Well, the 49ers might have something to say about that too.
True.
Yeah, a lot of injuries early. Sony Michel should be rostered everywhere. I guess maybe the point here more or less is don't drop him for somebody else. Like, don't let him be a roster casualty as a result, or a waiver casualty. Keep Michel on your roster. I'm not starting him this week. They're playing Tampa. Yes, it should be a shootout. Yes, he could find his way into the end zone once, if maybe twice, just like the Rams offense gets down to the goal line. But I don't think I start him against Tampa. Let me see how that plays out. And obviously, we got to monitor Henderson's status for the rest of this week. But he needs to stay on rosters. As for guys who might not be on rosters, I guess this might be the edge of the list. And John, we talked about this a little bit, was Rondale Moore.
Mm-hmm.
He's the top waiver claim this week for me. There are some running backs who are available.
7 of 8 targets for 114 yards and a touchdown. Still, he's playing less than 50% of the team's snaps at wide receiver.
That needs to come up.
A deep dive on Rondale Moore within the next 24 hours, but AJ Green is still playing above 80% of the snaps there, and that is gonna go down as the season goes on. And Rondale Moore, and to a certain extent, Christian Kirk are gonna pick up that workload, and I really like Rondale Moore.
Yeah, I mean, AJ Green scored this week, so that's good. But I don't know. Does he still look slow? He still looks slow to me. So, and Christian Kirk, strong week 1, decent week 2. Nothing to write home about, but he showed up. But, that's just kind of the point I'm trying to make. It's a little inconsistent. It's a little up and down. Rondale Moore's got room to move up.
Absolutely.
This pecking order. They have I know Max Williams had a nice day, but he's, they don't really have a whole lot at tight end. The Cardinals do. All they do is run the 4 receiver sets, the air raid offense. I think Rondale Moore's role continues to grow. He has done it against some pretty light competition. The Titans have not been very good stopping the pass, and the Vikings, they touted a much improved defense this year compared to last year. That has not been the case so far. So we'll see. The Cardinals have a tough stretch coming up after week 3. Week 3, they get one more, fire Rondale Moore up this week against Jacksonville. After that, the schedule gets a little tougher. So we'll see. But I mean, if you could use some wide receiver depth, Moore looks good as one of my top ads this week, if he's not already rostered.
All right, we have some questions in the chat, and it looks like I haven't gotten confirmation from any of you guys outside of Brett Forsyth that we're good. I'm going to just trust that we're good. Thank you, Brett, for letting us know. We appreciate it. And we
sorry for the audio
again.
issues.
Yeah, we apologize again for the technical difficulties, ironing some things out. I'm sure you saw there was a little bit of a glitch with the chat as well. We got that figured out too. And we're going to keep on unrolling stuff out for you. But let's get into some questions. Questions.
We can do that.
Non-PPR, Waller and Myers or Pitts and Barkley?
Waller and Myers? Jacoby Myers?
Yep.
For Pitts and Saquon.
I'm guessing this is some trade talk here.
Yep. Yeah, which is fine. We can keep this open-ended. We are going to talk a little bit about guys that you could potentially be looking to add to your roster, but we can definitely take some questions too about trades. I love Darren Waller. Did he say non-PPR? I'm sorry. I'm not looking at the chat.
He said non-PPR. Yep.
Non-PPR. Man, I can't believe I'm saying this. I feel like I'm almost more inclined to take the swing for the fences and take the Barkley side, because you would be the one acquiring the running back.
Who is going to continue to get more work as he just gets his legs underneath him further.
Right, as he moves. When it comes to Saquon, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Each week, each practice, each game, it's like one more week removed from the injury. Like, the further Saquon gets away from this injury, presumably the way that this normally goes, the healthier he gets, the stronger he gets back into game shape. The Saquon that we're used to seeing, he's getting there. He's not there yet, but he's on track. He busted a big play against Washington Thursday night on the road. Pretty good run defense from last year. Saquon busted a 40-yard play. That's become commonplace for Saquon, so it doesn't feel like that should be something that we highlight, but it's the first time we've seen him do that in over a year. And there have been knee-jerk reactions to, can Saquon still do it? Which is ridiculous. We're only 2 games into the season, and he's still only a year removed from a season-ending injury.
Right.
So I'm inclined to take the Saquon side there. Pitts is a downgrade from Waller, no matter how you slice it. But in standard, I would take the shot on the running back. I love Waller, but I think I would take the swing for the fence. The Saquon Pitts side is the swing for the fences side. And I like to take those shots.
There you go. Thank you for the question. Definitely not a fake throne. I like that name. All right, we got Carter Coulomb. He says, thoughts on Michael Carter? I'm going to take this one here.
Go ahead.
Or at least start off on this one. Because I was talking to Nick before we started this before we started this live stream about Ty Johnson and how much I like Ty Johnson, because he led the team in snaps week 1 from the running back position, and he had the most rushes from the running back position in week 2, despite the fact that Michael Carter had a good game himself. Now, we have people in the chat on Sunday asking us about Michael Carter, and we went the Ty Johnson. We went, if you're going to pick somebody, pick Ty Johnson. We went that route there. But I will say, in week 2, Michael Carter and Ty Johnson had the same amount of offensive snaps. So, I can't definitively say that I like Ty Johnson more at this point and that he's going to continue to get the majority of the work, because he's already splitting the work evenly with Michael Carter. The thing is, I don't really love this offense.
There's 3 different guys getting work right now, right? I mean, Tevin Coleman mixes in for 5 for 20, 5 for 25.
Yep.
So it's tough, it's tough to it's tough to identify anybody in this backfield right now. I have also liked Ty Johnson. Carter has, I would say, the most upside. He's the rookie. He's the guy that the Jets may eventually want to turn to, where he's like maybe the 1A of this committee. I don't know if anybody heard that squeak. My dog is playing with his toys. I can't help that. As for Carter, like to your point, John, he had a good game. It depends. I guess it comes down to, in a shallow league, I'm not sure I'm ready to just drop anybody for him yet. I don't know that he's not definitively a hold in shallow leagues, 10, 12 team leagues. Dynasty is a whole different story, obviously, but in redraft in shallow leagues, I'm not sure I can prioritize a guy like Carter, or I'm not sure that I care to prioritize a guy like Carter. I need to see one of the other two guys phased out, first of all. Like Tevin Coleman needs to become a healthy scratch every week. That would be step one.
And I don't see that happening. The coaching staff.
Probably not. At least not yet. Not now. So Carter's not yet on my radar in season long leagues, but he had a nice game week 2, and he probably should get more involved week 3.
Now, Justin asks, is Pollard worth the number one waiver wire claim?
Yeah.
The team's going to keep using him. They want.
Yeah.
The psychology I see is they're trying to keep Zeke fresh, because they got one more game to play in the regular season this year than ever before. So they're gonna keep using Pollard. I
think Pollard might be more explosive than Zeke now at this point.
And there's that argument to make as well. Absolutely.
Like Pollard's the fresher back, the younger legs. They've been using him everywhere. He's a bit of a Swiss Army knife for the Cowboys. He's taking end arounds. He can catch the ball. He can break big plays. Yes. I mean, if there's a wide receiver that you get, like toward the end of your, a name that's been thrown out there recently is a guy like Will Fuller. Like, you drafted him, you're kind of stashing, hanging on to him. I would try to find somebody else. Like, I want to see Fuller first before I drop a guy like that. Even for a guy like Pollard, who I'm really high on right now, and obviously running backs are a much higher priority in redraft and season long leagues than wide receivers are. But yeah, if there's a wide receiver 3 or 4 that you can kind of sever ties with right now, maybe you don't necessarily need him, even if he's been solidly productive. Yeah, Pollard should be on rosters. And if you have the number one waiver claim, if you have anything short of Derrick Henry and Aaron Jones right now, you could use the running back depth.
Absolutely. He's on my roster in a league that I'm in with Nick.
And
so
you're gonna hang right on to that guy.
Oh yeah, I'm not dropping him anytime soon.
No.
All right, we got some more questions here. We got D Money coming in with, do you think Rondale's production will be consistent? I think in PPR formats, I think he's definitely a little bit more valuable at this point in his career, because if he gets those minimal touchdowns, at least he gets a little bit more of a point boost, or those minimal receptions, at least he gets a little bit more of a point boost. Because the pendulum is gonna swing between him and Kirk until AJ Green is phased out of this offense, and I believe that will happen sooner than later.
I know I was looking at the Cardinals' schedule earlier. I mean, first of all, they get their division. So remember, the Rams have a strong secondary. The 49ers, well, they just lost Jason Barrett to a season-ending injury. And then you got the Seattle secondary has a guy like Jamal Adams. He's not a corner, but I mean, they also get some tough matchups against, Green Bay,
Seattle secondary,
Carolina.
That Seattle defense is not good. That's a defense they can attack and be fine.
Yeah, I mean, they get Houston, they get they get the Bears. Okay, so here you go. They get the Bears and the Lions. The Lions they get in which would be the fantasy playoffs. This is what I do. I look at the schedule. They get Dallas week 17. That's fantasy championship week this year. I think let's put it this way. I think Rondale's upside makes it so that it's going to be tough, because there's probably going to be boom bust weeks with him. There's going to be weeks where he pops, and there's going to be weeks where he catches one ball for 5 yards, right? It's going to happen. One, because it happens to everybody, and two, because he's a rookie. But his upside makes him worth rostering. There's no doubt. I think he's got the most room to grow in this Cardinals pecking order. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is the one. DeAndre Hopkins is the one. Take him out of the equation. Yeah, Christian Kirk is inconsistent, and AJ Green is he's lost a couple steps. I know he scored.
Rondale Moore can capture the snap share that AJ Green currently has, basically double his snap share. He's going to be in line for a ton of targets, and they use
he's worth it
in the run.
He's
they
worth
use him
it.
in the run game, in the pass game. They use him on end arounds. They use him creatively. So it doesn't really even matter what the defense is, because he's not going up against the number one corner. He's not.
Yeah, he's worth rostering if you can find a way.
And they'll use him in ways to just scheme to get the ball in his hands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's plenty of room for him to grow. All he needs is a slightly larger snap share, which that shouldn't be hard. So, yep, I'm buying Rondale.
All right, D-Money, you also ask thoughts on KJ Osborne. You got to go check out the video that we did a few days ago on KJ Osborne. We did a deep dive on him. Who is KJ Osborne? And that about covers everything about him. But in short, it looks like they're running 3 wide more than they ever have in the past, and more than we ever thought that they were going to coming into the season. I guess that would be in light of all these tight end injuries that they've sustained, and the fact that their wide receiver core it was a little bit jumbled to begin with.
It was thin after the top 2.
Right. So
love
KJ Osborne. Love KJ Osborne.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can find a spot for him yet in season-long leagues, but man, he's on the radar. He's on the come up. There's no doubt.
All right, Static Sting says, in my league, we got wide receiver tight end flex instead of a solo tight end spot, so I was thinking about using my number 2 waiver claim on Cordarrelle Patterson on Yahoo and plug him in there since he's a wide receiver running back there.
Got double eligibility.
Yeah,
yep.
What do you think about it?
So
first off, we had a little bit of an argument also off stream.
Oh, damn, here we go.
Is his name Cordarrelle Patterson or Cordarrelle Patterson?
I've ever heard is
Nick thinks it's Cordarrelle. I think it's Cordarrelle.
All I've ever heard is Cordarrelle.
I know,
so
but I think everybody's
that's all I've ever heard.
If you look at it, it just whatever.
I'm not worried about that.
Yes.
Anyway,
from a fantasy standpoint, how do you feel about him?
So here's the thing about Patterson. He's a great NFL player. Like, he's a versatile. You can put him in the backfield. You can line him up as a receiver. He can be a kick returner or a punt returner. Like, he's a great football player, but that has not always translated to consistent fantasy production. This could be a totally different scenario. I was not highly touting Mike Davis in the offseason. Like, I always felt like that was a trap, but I also never took Cordarrelle Patterson seriously. I'm just going to say Patterson before we get confirmation.
Yeah. I never said Patterson. I thought Patterson was a serious candidate for any sort of offensive.
But here's the thing. The Falcons are not going to be able to really run the ball this year because they're bad. Like, they're going to be trailing games all season long. I'm sorry. They're going to be trailing games all season long, and they're going to be throwing all season long. That's all Matt Ryan does anyway. He throws 600 pass attempts every year. He's going to do that again this year. Assuming he doesn't get traded to a contender or something, but I highly doubt that happens. Patterson, Mike Davis can catch passes in his own right, but Patterson's more versatile. He's a little bit more dynamic. You can line him up all over the place. Are we chasing points a little bit here because he scored 2 touchdowns against Tampa? Maybe. That's where I would caution. Like, I don't want to end up a situation where I'm chasing points here from a guy who has a proven track record of not being consistent for fantasy.
I guess
that's all I would caution.
Who else do you have at tight end that's an option?
Yeah.
To where that you're going to be forcing Cordarrelle Patterson into that role just because of that dual eligibility. So let us know in the chat, Static Sting, if you what your other options are at tight end, and we can kind of help you and advise your situation from there. But let's move on to Josh H's question. Rondale, Sterling Shepard, KJ Osborne, Robert Woods, pick 3, half PPR.
I'm inclined to say the first two and Robert Woods.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you leave KJ Osborne out because if you look at pretty much all the other ones, they're at least in the top 3 in that depth chart, and I don't know. I guess
Shepard's
KJ Osborne is too, but I would just go Rondale, Sterling Shepard, who you're a
Shepard's
huge
top
fan
2.
of.
I told people to pick him up last week.
Yeah, you're a huge fan of Sterling Shepard.
I'm not a huge fan, but I like him now.
I'm a huge fan of Robert Woods. So, yeah.
So there you go.
He's not doing what I thought he was going to be doing. Cooper Kupp is absolutely just blowing up.
Let's see how Robert Woods does. Let's see how, first of all, he's been okay. He's been fine. He hasn't busted. But let's see how he does this week in what should be a shootout against Tampa.
So we got Ethan with the trade question. Is Mixon too much to get Saquon?
What was Mixon's snap share week 2? I'm inclined to say yes, that is too much. I know Mixon didn't have a huge game week 2.
In redraft, I guess, yes. If it's season
long,
then yeah, that's a little bit too much.
I mean, I would. Earlier, we talked about a trade where Saquon was being acquired where I liked it, but it was not a running back for running back exchange. In this situation, it is. Therefore, I would opt for the running back who is healthy right now.
All right, we got Eli Oz.
If that's ass backwards, let me know. But that's the philosophy I'm going off of.
We got Eli Oz. He says, should I drop Ronald Jones and add Cordarrelle Patterson, who we just talked about?
In that situation, I would.
We're
just
not fans of Ronald Jones.
Not a believer in Ronald Jones. It's a full-blown committee. It seems pretty obvious. Bruce Arians trusts Leonard Fournette more. Whether you want to argue who's more talented, I don't think matters at this point. I think Ronald Jones will have his weeks, but I genuinely don't think he's worth hanging on to in season-long leagues. You're going to have literally no other option for me to say otherwise. I think Ronald Jones is a safe drop for a guy like Patterson, yes.
We got Theo Von Miller. Thanks for tuning in, bro. Ridley
yes, sir.
And a 23 third for a 22 and 23 first in Madison. I believe we got this question in a comment as well.
Yeah, we were talking, or we went a little back and forth on this last night. Theo's in a rebuild, and
he went on to say, "I am rebuilding," and
he's rebuilding.
Dead last, and I have a ton of picks, and I think I could get Calvin back later for cheaper, potentially. What do you think?
Well, if you're trying to sell Calvin with the intention of trying to reacquire him later for a lower price, and you think you can pull it off, your league mates better than we do. So. And then specifically that owner.
He'll be older, so technically yes, his value will have declined a little bit if you're in.
True.
And this is clearly a dynasty situation.
Right. He's a piece that you're reacquiring at that time. He's like he completes your roster or whatever. Sure.
I've done that. I did that with Robert Woods.
Sure.
So I can see you doing that with Ridley. Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to. Well, Madison moves the needle a little bit for me now because Dalvin Cook is coming off of a. It's being called a minor injury. Obviously, we have to monitor it, but Madison becomes a slightly more interesting ad. 24 hours later, I'm fine with that. Knowing that you're like maybe looking down the line to say, I'll just go get Ridley and get him back. Sure. Yeah, that's fine. If Ridley's not going to help, if he's not going to help you win this year and you like the pick haul that you're collecting, then sure.
All right, we got Michael Greenson, Mike Williams, your boy, who you were
told you to start him last week.
Yeah, you were touting him all last week. He says
told him to start him.
Mike Williams to get AJ Brown is an instant accept, right? I would say hell yeah, bro.
Hell yes.
Bro.
If somebody's if the person who has AJ Brown is jumping ship and is willing to just get Mike Williams, yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Hit accept and toast to yourself. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Jaws Whedon asks, is Jamison Crowder droppable in Dynasty? Seems like a rookie should have his snaps eventually. I am in this situation. I have Jamison Crowder on a roster where I have felt all offseason like I don't know if I have a place for him. But if he goes to another team, depending on what team that is, he can be a decent fantasy wide receiver. He was a top 20 to top 30 fantasy wide receiver last season when he played. And it was because he was hyper targeted by Darnold. But if he goes to a situation where he's going to get a fair amount of targets, if he goes to a decent fantasy situation, he is only 28 right now, I think.
Yeah, he's 28.
So I've been holding on to him. It stinks because you just kind of have to wait it out with him right now on the Jets. But he's kind of
hopefully it's deeper rosters where it's not like overly necessary to try to replace that spot.
He's an underrated asset, just like Sterling Shepard is, who you're a huge fan of. He's an underrated asset.
I think Crowder's a hold for now.
Yep.
You weren't starting him anyway, so yeah, you might as well ride the wave and see if he ends up in a better situation. In Dynasty, you can afford to, yeah, or you should be able to. If it's a smaller league, if it's smaller rosters, 15, 16 bench spots instead of 20 or more,
right.
then maybe that I understand the squeeze there. But I think you try to hold on to him for now.
All right, let's move through some of these a little bit quicker so we can catch up with the chat.
Sure. We're doing a lot of talking.
James Zoo, trade Kyler and Hopkins or Ridley for Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. I don't know if Kyler can keep this up. I mean, I think Kyler can keep it up.
I would not do that deal.
Yeah,
I would. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, John.
Yeah.
I would not do that deal.
If you're holding the fact that he caught a shoulder injury last year and his fantasy production dipped off a little bit, I mean, I wouldn't hold that against him this year.
Sure, fine, but he's off to another torrid start this year. He's the QB1 through 2 weeks, looking like the best value of the quarterbacks drafted high right now. He runs way more than Mahomes does. No. And you have the Hopkins stack. I know it's a stack for a stack, but I would keep the stack I have. I would keep the Murray Hopkins stack. I would not sell that.
And I miss Nifty Main right above him. He asks, Bryan Edwards droppable for a guy like KJ Osborne? Now Bryan Edwards got a touchdown call back.
He did
last game. So they were clear, and it was early in the game, so it wasn't a situation where they were in overtime and just airmailing it to him to get down the field, right?
And he was inches away from week one as well.
Right. So I would say
hold Bryan. I would say hold Bryan Edwards.
Yeah.
I would say hold. The Raiders look good.
Yeah.
The Raiders look good on offense, and they just made it through their toughest test of their season. Overtime against Baltimore, and then short week on the road to Pittsburgh. Won both games. The Raiders are trending up right now. I would hold Edwards.
And we got Joss Whedon, thank you. He says John's mic must be turned down a bit hard to hear. All right, Sorry about that, you guys. Turn it down. I am also I'm outside right now, so you can hear the world. So I apologize for that, but thank you for letting us know. Carter Coombe says, "All right, thanks for the help above with Michael Carter."
Oh, the Carter help.
Okay, yeah, you're welcome. But he asks, he's considering dropping guys like Trey Sermon and Trey Lance for Michael Carter. Do you think that's smart?
If it's a one quarterback league, Trey Lance is not a hold.
Agreed.
If you only start one quarterback, Trey Lance is not a hold. So then, yeah, sure. If you want to stash a running back who you think has upside, then drop Trey Lance. If it's a super flex league and you're hanging on to him, then don't drop Trey Lance. Trey Sermon is. Look, we weren't high on Trey Sermon on this channel coming into the season. I remember saying, I was like, I would say
the coaching staff isn't high on.
I would say Sermon is approaching droppable. For Carter, I mean, Carter's healthy. Sermon's in the concussion protocol. 9 times out of 10, they miss those games. Players with concussions miss games. Like, yeah, I can't fault you. If it's a one quarterback league, Trey Lance for sure. If it's a super flex league and you want to take a shot, I won't. You won't get a big argument from me if you want to drop Trey Sermon.
There you go. Should Jason trade Lockett for Gibson? Yeah, I would do that.
You're trading Lockett to acquire Antonio Gibson.
I would do that.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on, I guess, how badly do you need a running back, or unless you're just trying to get by, if you're trying to buy low.
Later on, he says, I got Zeke and CEH as well as Juju and Cooks and Ayuk for depth.
Well,
so
okay.
Then he'd have Gibson, Zeke, and CEH.
Yeah, okay.
I would
sure.
do that.
Sure. Yeah, because Gibson, you're still holding out hope can finish as an RB1. Lockett has popped early, which is awesome. But there's still hope that Gibson could be an RB1. They are.
Gibson is a guy that you can just plug
yes.
into your lineup.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I would do that. I'm still a believer in Gibson. I haven't given up hope. He looks great on the field. The usage just hasn't come through quite yet.
And again, their number one quarterback is out. So that factors into the whole offense. All right, we got Joss Whedon throwing in. I like Cordy Patterson. All right.
Cordy? Okay, yeah. we can agree on that.
All right, he says it sounds like a cowboy name. I could see that. Michael Chaps asks, currently trying to trade with a guy who has Mahomes as his quarterback and Lamar as his backup and wants big return for a quarterback.
So it sounds like it's a one quarterback league.
Hey, yeah, I've dealt with those a couple of those.
There's don't cave, man. Don't cave. Hold your ground, because in one quarterback leagues, I don't care how well a backup quarterback is doing, you can stream a quarterback and keep the foundation of your team over selling multiple assets. If he wants a big return, if he's not settling for anything less,
I bet you there's a quarterback on your wire this week that you could stream and feel and
yeah, like Daniel freaking Jones, and who is like the best running back on the Giants. Go figure.
I bet somebody's panicked in a couple of leagues and Ryan Tannehill is on the waiver wire.
Sure. Yeah, no, stand your ground. One quarterback league.
Right now, Matt Stafford is on the waiver wire. You can pick up these guys depending on the sizes of your leagues and how many people like to roster backup QBs in your leagues. But
10-team, one quarterback, 12-team, one quarterback. Hold your guys. Yep. Stand your ground. Don't trade for a guy. Let that guy eat the fact that Lamar is on his bench each and every week. And
honestly, Lamar should be in over Mahomes.
Maybe, yeah, probably. Yeah. So, no, don't give up a big return. Yeah, I would give up maybe a wide receiver. No running backs under any circumstances. 9-1 quarterback league. Nope.
All right. Ian D. Stealth says, just made a move selling high on Brandon Cooks for Edmonds because I got Connor on my bench. Smart move?
Depends on the scoring. If it's standard, then I like it less. Because Edmonds is more of a pass catching back, or
the way I see it, Edmonds was looking more like a flex play, and Brandon Cooks was a high-end wide receiver 2 with low-end wide receiver 1.
Cooks is off to a hot start, but also Tyrod is now set to miss Thursday's game.
Yeah, and Nico Collins is on IR, and Danny Amendola, the guy that they just brought in, old head, is going to miss a few weeks, so they have nobody to pass to. So it's going to be.
Is he already
Davis
hurt?
Mills to Brandon Cook show all day. It doesn't matter. He's going to get like 15 targets.
He's going to get 15 targets a game, even if they're not good targets. They're still targets.
Did you see the target distribution from week 2? That was basically the case. He got all the targets.
Yeah, I mean, if you need a running, we just got done talking about how it's easier to. No, I know. We don't like Connor, and it's easier to find wide receivers in season-long leagues than it is running backs. So I don't hate the Edmonds acquisition, but I am also very excited for Brandon Cooks and his start, because all he does when healthy is put up 1,000-yard seasons. Yeah. That said, I don't hate the move. I would need to see the rosters a little bit more. I wouldn't give it a passing grade. I wouldn't give it a failing grade. I would just say, let's wait and see. I don't hate the trade. Let's put it that way.
I would just say I'd rather have Brandon Cooks, but I'd have to look at your if that's a move to send Connor to the bench, If Connor
then
was a guy
it's,
that you were starting,
yeah, then it's
that
better.
might be a move that you got to make. That just might be the move for the makeup of your team that is just better for the makeup of your team than it is on paper. Sometimes you got to make those moves.
Yep.
Carter Coulomb says, he says, just looked it up. It's more like how Nick says it, like Core, Daryl, Patterson. I get that, but if you look at, there's an extra LE at the end of that Daryl that makes me think it's Core Darrell. But
you could think whatever you want. It doesn't make it right.
Casey asks, Cooper Kupp or DK Metcalf PPR when he already has Robert Woods? I'd be trying to sell Robert Woods for something, but
Kupp.
I would be trying to sell Robert Woods for something. I would be trying to keep Kupp.
Or we try to get Stafford. Just go full Ram stack.
Full Ram stack sounds nice.
Full Ram stack. If that's a super flex league, that's a super flex league. Maybe see what the deal is with Matthew Stafford. No, it's got to be Kupp. I mean, it's got to be Kupp right now. Kupp looks like he's the yards. He could lead the league of receiving yards. Where he's on pay. I know it's still early, but
matchup this next week. Robert Woods should have a boom week this week.
It's gonna be a shootout.
So you might be able to trade Robert Woods based off of the points he's gonna put up in week 3. In between week 3, week 4, keep Kupp on your team.
Get a running back.
He's honestly, he has Matt Stafford's eye right now.
Get a running back for Woods.
Right.
Yeah. Hope that Woods booms against Tampa, and then trade him for a running back. Keep Kupp. Keep Kupp.
Yep.
And Metcalf. Yeah, just keep him too.
All right. Static Sting comes back with another question. He says, on your question on what TE I have. Right. He has Andrews and he picked up Gronk.
Oh.
You were thinking about dropping Andrews because tight ends are not important in your league. Hey, no, don't. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that.
No, I mean that's a good collection. Gronk's turned back the clock, so that's a great.
So his original question was, should he be putting Cordarrelle Patterson in over Gronk or Andrews? I would say no. You put Gronk in there. Gronk is the guy.
I would
there.
keep.
You go Gronk. He's going to keep getting those touchdowns. He's going to keep getting work.
Yeah, until further notice. Until further notice. Ride the wave.
Yep.
Gronk and Brady are like on another level.
Also, he says also great stream. I like. Thank you. We apologize again for the technical
Appreciate that. Yeah, we had some issues at the top, but
right.
think we're good now.
And,
I do not no Patterson over those two tight ends.
To the stream, and it'll get more interactive as we move. Excuse me, as we move on. This is only our 3rd live stream since we've been really doing this. So we're getting there.
We're figuring it out.
But thanks for the questions. Appreciate it, and thanks for liking the video. Static Sting.
Yeah.
Said he liked it. All right. Blue Crew says, in a 12-team, 2 QB Superflex League, is there a strategy for picking up players off the waiver wire? Our waiver is very thin, and I just want to make the most of any waiver claims.
I mean, sure. So, I can try to take that one. This is not. We don't play our home league. John is not a Superflex league, but generally speaking, for me, this is just my strategy. In a highly competitive league, and Superflex adds to the competition because quarterbacks are thin. Every position is thin on the wire. I stay true to like who the guys are that I believe in, that I end up drafting. So unless there's a like as obvious gets, like Elijah Mitchell could be considered a decent example of like a guy week 1 where it's just like, go get that guy. And it's like, it's a priority. And that still looks okay. Remember, because week 3, he's going to carry the load this week. I stick with the guys that I draft. And then if it's a FOB budget, hopefully your league uses FOB. If they don't, you're going to be at a bit of a disadvantage if it's a random waiver order or waiver priority. Mm-hmm. I don't splurge, like maybe like say like a Rondale Moore. I like him this week in leagues where you have a clear guy on your bench where it's like he's not doing anything. You can just drop him. But if you don't like need those guys to start right away, then don't pick them up. Save your fob, save your waiver priority for when there is there's an injury to a major player, because I'm telling nobody anything new right now. It's inevitable. Major injuries happen and will happen. We will not go the rest of this season without a big name going down. That's when you try to pounce. Like, get the replacement for the guy who, if it's an injury, might not be coming back. That's when I pounce. Like, yes, Rondale Moore looks like an awesome ad this week. There's a couple others. Like, Tim Patrick looks like a good name. But I don't need those guys this week. So I'm going to probably pass. So that would be like, I stick true to the guys that I draft. That's my waiver strategy. And then when something obvious comes up, then you try to pounce.
I will just say this, that one of my strategies is in super deep leagues, since you do say that our waiver wire is very thin, he makes that stipulation.
Sure.
Whenever anybody has to go in and pick somebody up, they also have to drop somebody, and lots of people out here are making rapid reactions to things and dropping players that they shouldn't be dropping for the hot name on the wire. So sometimes, in certain situations, it's smarter to wait for the player that they dropped to clear waivers again on the flip side and pick them up on Saturday. Sometimes that's the smarter move, depending on how your waivers work.
Yeah, the more patient move, right?
And I will say that, yes, I would say that there's a merging of two strategies here that I think would be good. Stay true to the guys that you drafted.
Right.
But just keep your eyes out for opportunities. And the opportunities aren't always the guys that had the hot week. Sometimes it's the guys that people are dropping for the guy that had the hot week. You got to watch out for those.
Yeah.
David Richardson just asks, Amon-Ra St. Brown?
What did he do last night? I saw him catch one pass, but I wasn't paying.
Well. Quintez Cephas was the
Cephas looks
yeah.
Or that receiver room.
Yeah.
Cephas looks good. Here's the thing about St. Brown. Yeah, he caught 3 passes last night. Okay. 3 for not much, 18. I mean, so he's got 9 targets through 2 games. It's not bad, right? 4th round rookie. Thin, like, not the most talented Lions offense.
It's
Jared Goff is not very good.
Old school football. He's not going to give rookies all the work out the gate.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great wait and see in Dynasty, but he's not on the season long radar. Not right now. I mean, Cephas has crept into the waiver conversation in shallow leagues. I don't think I would advise at trying to add him yet, but Cephas is like worth a look right now. In season long, Amon-Ra is not.
Yeah, watch list guy for sure.
Yeah, Cephas is a watch list guy. Amon-Ra that's a long term. That's a dynasty play.
Free Kicks USA. He is that like? Can you get us some free kicks? What up, bro? He says, "Hey, sexy fellows, who should I start at my running back to for week 3? I did my hero RB strategy, and I can pick from Elijah Mitchell, Javonte Williams, Latavius Murray, or AJ Dillon, and Trey Sermon. He threw Trey Sermon in there.
So Sermon is trending to miss week 3, right? So, and so is JaMychal Hasty by all accounts. I think.
And unless you hear that Elijah is definitely going to be playing because he is dealing with his own shoulder injury. So I don't know how serious that is. Something we got to look into.
He's day to day.
Right. Okay.
He's day to day. I would say 9 times. Like, I'm not a doctor. This is no medical, prognosis. But like 9 times out of 10, guys who are day to day at the beginning of the week, they're gonna suit up. They're gonna play. I would say Elijah, just because JaMychal Hasty is also going to miss the game. Kyle Shanahan said it was I think it's an ankle injury and a pretty serious one. So by all accounts, he's missing multiple weeks.
Yep.
And Sermon is in the concussion protocol. 9 times out of 10, those guys missed the game. They missed that week. So Mitchell's going to carry the load. I do like Javonte's matchup against the Jets, but he's still in the timeshare.
Yeah, if Elijah Mitchell is starting, it's Elijah Mitchell.
I would say it's
Elijah
Mitchell.
Mitchell can't go because his shoulder is bothering him too much, then it's Javonte Williams, and it's without thinking about it too much.
Oh, and they're playing the Packers at home. That's the 49ers home opener on Sunday night against Green Bay, who looks not good on defense. I may have mentioned them as a potential stream for the start of the season as a defense. That was wrong. My Denver one was not bad, but the Green Bay one was. Green Bay looks bad on defense. Home opener for the 49ers in primetime, Elijah Mitchell.
There you go. D Money comes back with another one. He says, where would you rank Darnell Mooney amongst this week's top waiver wide receivers? Rondell Moore, KJ, Ruggs, Tim Patrick. Where would I rank Darnell Mooney in there?
I think Darnell Mooney should be on rosters.
Yes.
Like,
I would want him over Ruggs.
I
want him over KJ Hamler.
I want him over. I'm very big on Rondale, but I want Mooney because Fields is gonna play.
Yeah, we haven't touched on that yet.
Fields is gonna play.
Touched on that yet. Fields, yeah, man, this is exciting. The Browns.
I don't know that it's happening this week. Yeah, we think it might happen this week, but even if it doesn't, it's coming. It's gonna happen, and I think. Yes, he might take his lumps as a rookie. There's going to be some down weeks, but Mooney's good. Mooney's good. I would if I have Mooney on my bench right now, I'm not dropping him for Rondale Moore. Let's put it that way.
Honestly, to anybody out there in the chat still watching, we got 20 viewers. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Right now, it's kind of a buy low for Darnell Mooney. It's a buy low.
I think so too.
So
I think so too.
Shooting out offers for Darnell Mooney because it's Justin Fields season, and he's got an arm, and he's going to start really connecting with some of these wide receivers. So much. I mean,
that's the hope. That's the hope.
Yeah.
No, Mooney. If Mooney's on my bench and Rondale Moore is on waivers, I'm holding Mooney.
All right, we got A Machine 35. I just traded away Cortland Sutton and DeAndre Swift for AJ Brown and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. What do you think?
Ooh. Man, Sutton
I like AJ Brown more than Sutton long term, just because he's a younger asset.
Sure, Sutton looks like he's back.
Is this redraft? Is this dynasty? Is this?
So yeah, I mean, let's just assume it's for now. Let's assume it's redraft. He can correct us if it's not. I just put out a video about Clyde today. I'm nervous about, as somebody who has been a big Clyde guy since he was drafted. I'm nervous. I'm concerned. It was pointed out on Twitter today. I'm forgetting the source. This is not from me. I can't take credit for this, but Clyde suffered an ankle injury in the preseason, and the time frame for recovery for that is about a month.
And we didn't hear much about it. It would kind of fell under because it wasn't serious enough to keep him out to make him miss time, right.
But it was enough where it was like pain management. I did not cover this in the video. I saw this after the fact. Clyde should be past the timeline of the injury. So that's good news. That's the only good news. Everything else has led to him being one of the biggest disappointments of the season so far. I know it's early. He could still turn things around. He's still the best player in that Chiefs backfield. But he's not catching passes. His floor in the passing game right now is 0. It happened Sunday night. Like, his floor in the passing game is 0. That should not happen with a player of his profile. It doesn't make sense. So I'm very, very leery about Clyde, whereas DeAndre Swift is getting tons of work in the passing game.
It just comes down to the fact that like if the Kansas City Chiefs are in go time, and they really need points, that's not the guy that they're going to. That's not even the. They're
going to Kelsey. They're going to Hill.
Right. If you're looking at the Lions, DeAndre Swift is probably if he's not number 1, he's number 2.
He's number 2 behind Hawk.
Without question.
Yeah. Swift has much more passing game usage, a significantly higher floor in the pass game. I know on paper, AJ Brown is better than Cortland Sutton. And when you go by ADP, it's by multiple rounds. There's no doubt. I would rather have the Sutton Swift side because of Swift.
And especially with this Judy injury,
It pains me. And the Judy injury.
Sutton
It pains me because I love Clyde and I love AJ. I've had both of those guys on my team at the same time. I love both of those guys.
If that was a dynasty situation, I think I'd be going Brown and Hilaire, honestly.
If it's dynasty, then sure, Brown and Clyde. You can still make that argument.
God damn it!
Said turn the volume up.
Tell us to turn me down. Now I'm turning. All right.
No, he said you turned to up. He said to turn you up.
Ah, damn it. All right.
You
Sorry about that, guys.
If it's a dynasty situation, Clyde and AJ, you could still make the argument that that's the better side of the trade. But in season long, right now, I would rather have Sutton and Swift. I would, and I pains me to say it, but that's how I feel.
Nifty Main says, "Love the content. Sorry, I got a little salty. Sorry, I got a little salty. Y'all missed me. Yeah, we didn't mean to miss you. We went back for it. Thank you for watching every video, though. We appreciate it for sure.
We appreciate
Absolutely.
that. We're not. Yeah, we want to hit on everybody. We want to make sure we hit on everybody.
And if there are any other shows that you think that we can bring you, let us know. We're trying to fill out our schedule here with some more live streams. So if you want, we put up a poll, or Nick put up a poll yesterday. And what were some of the options?
So we're gonna be doing this every Tuesday. We'll do, the idea will be centered around waivers, but we'll take questions as we need to.
What were some of the options that we missed out on?
Oh, are you asking them or me?
You.
So there's like a stock up, stock down segment. I was thinking we could do on Mondays, where we react to, who played well, who didn't, or maybe where are the diamonds in the rough, amongst the performances from Sunday, and then just trade help, which we're kind of doing now. So yeah, those are the options. I threw in a fourth option to let us know if there's anything specific that I didn't highlight in the poll. I didn't get any comments there, but we're open. So yeah, we'll be doing our start sits on Sunday. We've been doing that for a couple weeks now. We'll be doing this on Tuesdays. They'll be focused around waivers, but we can take trade questions or other questions in general.
And we won't always have
Monday stock up, stock down, and the audio will be fine.
Yes.
Every other time. So sorry about that, but yeah, appreciate the feedback, appreciate the engagement. Hopefully this is helpful or has been helpful. I don't know where we're at, if there are any other outstanding questions, but
we got a few more.
We got a few more.
Okay. Yep.
Sure.
Benjamin Winkler comes through. He says, "I have a question. So me and someone else in my league did an in-person trade, and we both accepted it. And all the league settings are set to no review, and the trade processes instantly. But it's been 24 hours, and it still hasn't processed. Anyone know why? Do you know what service is it on? Is it on Sleeper, MFL, Yahoo, ESPN?
Might be like a Yahoo or an ESPN. Those are the most common, I feel like.
I would say if you're not the commissioner and the person you're trading with isn't the commissioner, maybe ask him to see if it's pending somewhere on the commissioner's end or something that he can force through.
Reach out to the commissioner.
Yeah, outside of just waiting it out. Yeah.
Right. Which if there's no review time, obviously you expect that to have happened by now. So yeah, I would be like antsy too. I'd be like, where's the damn trade? Why hasn't it processed? I would hit up the commissioner. But if one of you are the commissioner, then there is a commissioner tab. There's got to be something about trades. If worst case scenario, like last resort, contact customer support for the platform.
Yeah.
Just like send them an email, or they might have like an online messaging type of thing. That's a last resort if you can't get in touch with the commissioner. But yeah, somebody should be able to help you out.
So Slim Reaper says Superflex looking at Kerryon Johnson, or Frank Gore, Yo, Frank Gore is never going to play again in the NFL. So if you had to choose out of those two, it'd be Kerryon Johnson.
I guess it'd be Kerryon.
He could get another shot technically. But he's not somebody that I'd be looking at. He's not somebody that I'd be looking at.
He went to some practice squad, right?
Yeah.
Was it San Francisco?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it was. It was San Francisco. So, I mean, you're talking...
If you got 30-man rosters and this is a dynasty league, sure.
You're right. You could take that shot.
Right.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm not. That's really the only situation I'm looking at Kerryon Johnson, and I'm not looking at Frank Gore.
No, his 150-year run in the NFL appears to be over.
Love Frank Gore.
Love
so
Frank
much
Gore.
respect for Frank Gore.
Love Frank Gore.
One of the greatest video game players of all time. If you played any of the PlayStation 2 Maddens back in the day.
I don't know if I caught those.
Oh man, rushing.
I started back up
games,
with like
Frank Gore.
I started back up with like the 360. I don't know. I went a while without playing games, and then I went back to Madden late, and I was really bad for a while.
Still
then
are.
I sharpened my skills. No, I would kick your ass.
All right, Breck PF asks, can I trust CEH at RB2 for week 3? I think you give it one more week.
You got to give it one more
week. Show
week.
it to you, just like Benjamin Winkler is saying right below you. If you give it one more week, and if he doesn't show it to you in week 3, then you bench him until further notice. And I know it hurts, but yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Just give it one more week. You're firing him up. They're at home. Hope for the best.
Nelson Enriquez says, how important is a number 1 waiver? He's considering it on Mooney. Yeah, if Mooney's out there. If Mooney's
out there, but Tony Pollard isn't, like, I'm almost inclined to say Sony Michel too, but maybe not. If it's either Tony Pollard, if he's not available,
it depends
then
what you need on your team.
Mooney,
if you need a running
Mooney,
back, if you need a running back and Sony's out there, you go Sony. But if
you need a running back, then go Sony.
It's agnostic,
if he's there,
then you go edge Mooney.
Yeah,
by a lot.
I would go
with Fields starting.
Pollard, Mooney, Sony Michel, like in that. Then Rondale Moore.
Yeah,
probably that would be my this week. If Pollard's on waivers, get him. Then Mooney, Sony Michel, Rondale Moore. Then the other names.
All right. Zachary Charinkin asks, I got offered Antonio Gibson and Corey Davis for D-Hop. PPR league. Should I pull the trigger? Ooh.
What did Corey Davis do last week? I love D-Hop too.
Corey Davis did not do much. That whole offense sputtered. It was the
that's
Braxton
right.
Berrios
It was the Patriots.
It was the Braxton Berrios show.
And it was the Patriots. Belichick eats rookie quarterbacks alive.
Yeah.
We should have all seen that coming a mile away. No. I would hold Hopkins. He's off to a great start. The Cardinals offense is off to a great start. Kyler is off to a great start. No, I would hold Hopkins. I love Antonio Gibson, but Hopkins is right back to his old ways of being a top 3 fantasy receiver.
His floor is mid-tier, like top 6 wide receiver 1.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Hopkins' floor is wide receiver 5 or 6 on the season. That's his floor.
Yeah.
I love Antonio Gibson, but no, Corey Davis doesn't move the needle for me there. I would keep Hopkins.
Can't hear John Nifty Main. Thank you for letting us know.
Was that from earlier?
Yeah. No, I saw that when he threw it in the chat. So,
glad that's cleared up.
Nelson Enriquez, you asked the same question twice. I hope the first time that did it. Brett Forseth, Superflex, or the San Francisco 49ers signed running back Shaquille Patrick or Jax Patrick.
Is it Jacques? Maybe.
Jacques.
Yep. I the name is like coming back to me a little bit as who I saw as that was the update.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brett. Yeah. Is he on the practice squad or is he on the 53? He's not. In Dynasty, sure. If you want to take a speculative ad, but in no way is he on the season-long radar.
No,
not yet. No. I mean, it's the San Francisco backfield, so you never know. But not yet.
Slim Reaper, right below him, says Jeff Wilson is in my free agency. No, I'm not a San Francisco fan. I'm just looking for to get one up on my league mates, and he could be the RB1 come week 7, week 8. I think I'd be more inclined by far to pick up Jeff Wilson over Kerryon Johnson or Frank Gore. I think the clear pickup there is Jeff Wilson. And I think last year he was their number 1 running back. If you look at where all the running backs finished in fantasy, Jeff Wilson was the one that you wanted.
And they need him. Like, Mostert's gone. Sermon is in the concussion protocol and has 1 touch through 2 games, and the vibes are not great. I think the 49ers, maybe they don't rush Jeff Wilson back, but this is not going to be a situation where it's like, oh, we're good with what we have, like, let's just leave him on IR, or let's just leave, or he doesn't have a role. No, Jeff Wilson's going to come back, and he's going to, if he's healthy, if he can get, if he's recovered from this injury, he's going to get touches. Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it before we went live, John. Like, Jeff Wilson, deep stash, deep league. Jeff Wilson is absolutely, like, he's creeping up on the radar. There's no doubt.
Yep. And Nelson Enriquez, yeah, we weren't trying to put you on blast. You didn't have to retract your message. We will work our way through the whole chat and get to your question. Sorry, it took a little. Sorry, I had to wait a little bit.
We had some technical issues.
Yeah, but yeah, we didn't mean to put you on blast there. No need to feel bad for throwing in a question twice. But he also says, I need a running back, no Pollard, no Michelle, only James White and McKissick. He thinks he should hold the number 1 waiver claim. Oh, and not pick Mooney.
So, I mean, if your receivers, let's put it this way, if you're looking at your wide receivers,
who are your wide receivers? Let us know in the chat.
If you're looking at if you're looking at your wide receivers right now, and you're like, I'm not moving either one of or any of them out for Mooney, even with Justin Fields in, if you feel strongly about the guys you currently have, then sure, don't use your top waiver priority just to use it. I do think Darnell Mooney should be on fantasy rosters.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
But if your receivers are stacked and you want to hold it, you won't get like a huge argument from me.
All right. Yule asks or says, should I trade Clyde Edwards-Helaire for David Montgomery? I would do that.
Yeah.
I would do that.
Yeah, I mean, Montgomery,
I wouldn't feel happy doing it, but I would do it.
Yeah, it kind of feels icky, but it's almost like this is weirdly feels like the smart thing
with
to do.
With Fields starting, that's the smart move. That offense is going to start ascending, and I don't see a world in which the Chiefs really start forcing it and forcing the issue to Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the receiving game, and the usage on him has just been strange too. So I would go David Montgomery.
Here's what I would say. One thing about that. Clyde gets the Chargers at home. David Montgomery is on the road in Cleveland against the Browns. So much tougher matchup it's not a top 10 easy matchup for Clyde, but it's a tough matchup for Montgomery. Do you wait a week, hold Clyde, hope he does well, hope Montgomery doesn't do well against the Browns, and then you could get Montgomery and something else for Clyde just in time for Montgomery to play the Lions in week 4?
If you're trying to gamble,
just throwing it out there. If
you want to gamble, then go for it.
Out there.
But I mean,
just throwing it out there. But at the end of the day, yeah, if you kind of just want to get
for still asking for more in that trade right now,
I don't think you can. I honestly don't think you can. I think
depending on the owner.
Sure, but Clyde's stock is as low as it's going to get.
Yeah.
David Montgomery is not a pennies on the dollar acquisition.
True.
For Clyde. So if you want to do it now, sure. I personally might try to let that scenario play out where maybe Clyde does well this week. Montgomery struggles a little bit in a bad matchup against Cleveland.
You talked me into it. That's what I would do.
And then try to get him and something else, maybe like a wide receiver 4 or something. Just throwing it out there.
I like that move. Slim Reaper, and this is the last up. And Nelson got another question in there.
Okay.
So we'll get to that one too, and then we are probably going to end this end this live stream pretty soon. But let's finish off these questions.
Let's take whatever questions.
Slim Reaper, should I trade Sermon and Fuller for Sammy Watkins and Big Bob Robert Tonyan? Pitch is my only tight end on my roster.
I like Hollywood Brown.
Sermon
sorry, Sammy Watkins. He said Sammy
Sermon
Watkins.
You trade Sermon.
Sermon has.
And Fuller, That whole
So
offense doesn't look great to me right now. So for Sammy Watkins, been Big Bob Tonyan. If Pitts is the only tight end on your roster.
Sure. I mean, I would say.
Can you get a little bit more out of that?
Yeah. Well, probably not because Sermon has no value right now, or very little value. So Tonyan, I'm not. I know he scored last night, but I'm not crazy about Tonyan, especially when you already have Pitts, who I definitely like as like a swing for the fences for the rest of the season. Sammy Watkins, he's been okay. My mind went to Marquise Brown. I was like, he's been great. Sammy Watkins has been okay. Rashad Bateman is coming back soon. I don't know how much of an impact he's going to have as a rookie coming off of an injury, missing so much time, but should be noted he's coming back.
He's the most like physically gifted if you're looking for a wide receiver.
He's
one
the
on
X.
The team.
He's the X. He'll be the X receiver on the outside.
He's going to take targets away from Sammy Watkins. He might not take targets away from Marquise Brown, who's killing it right now, but he's taking targets away from Sammy Watkins.
From Sammy Watkins, probably.
Yeah. But Fuller's not getting you anything right now,
well, Fuller's back at practice. Fuller's back. Fuller's back in the Dolphins facility. I know the offense doesn't look great, but maybe they need Fuller. I haven't seen Fuller yet, and Fuller was a wide receiver 1 by fantasy points per game last year.
Taking PEDs, bro, with Deshaun Watson.
He's still talented. Fuller's good.
Yeah.
I think I would hold. I know you're getting 2 guys who are playing right now, and Sermon is very blah, but I think I would hold because Sermon's value is nothing.
I mean, you're
now.
selling Sermon at his lowest right now.
I would, yeah. So I wouldn't, and that's just something I wouldn't.
And Sammy Watkins is not a long-term option there at wide receiver.
Yeah, I would hold.
Yeah,
I would keep Fuller, and if you want to drop Sermon for somebody, and that way you get to keep Fuller, like, okay, sure. But I would not take that trade.
Yeah. All right, Nelson Enriquez.
Rock with Pitts.
Nelson Enriquez came back with his whole roster. He's got Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Deebo Samuel, Miles Sanders, Darrell Henderson as my running backs. He does say Sanders is not really producing, and Henderson got injured. Yeah.
Right.
So his original question. I mean, there's no Pollard, no Sony Michel, only James White right now. I would go James White over Mooney with that roster. I would go because you got Tyreek, or you got Stephon, you got Debo. You're not sitting any of those guys for Darnell Mooney, regardless of whether or not Fields is coming back into play. But yeah, I mean James
White might feel like a reach, but James White's back, baby.
Yeah,
James White is back. Yeah, I would go get James White. You can start him as soon as this week if Henderson has to miss the game.
Yep.
You could start James White this week. Yup, James White. There you go.
All right.
You got any others?
Oh, yep. Oyul came back and asked, or should I do DeAndre Swift for David Montgomery? Either Clyde Edwards-Helaire or DeAndre Swift. I would rather have DeAndre Swift on my team. I would rather trade away Clyde Edwards-Helaire for David Montgomery than DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I would keep Swift.
Yes.
If it's half PPR or even better, full PPR, I'm not trading Swift right now.
All right. Any players you think I can get? This is from Streak. Any players you think I can get if I do a Woods plus Corey Davis stack? So if you're trading away Woods and Corey Davis, honestly, I'd wait until they both have good games. You're not trading Woods or Corey Davis off of bad games. You don't want to do that. Technically, Woods is coming off of 2 bad games. I know Corey Davis had a good game week 1, but wait a week.
Wait 1 more week.
Yeah.
I would hold both.
Because
hold
again,
both.
Robert Woods is in a great spot to produce. Because I believe, aren't they going up against Tampa Bay?
Right. It's gonna be a shootout.
Right.
Points should be scored in that game. Robert Woods' floor is high.
Right.
And Corey Davis is getting away from a Belichick matchup.
Right. Corey Davis is gonna have a bounce back game. Yeah.
Hold both.
The end with a lot of H's. That's not how you spell end, but respect. Should I trade Gibson for Barkley?
So there's a lot of people who reacted to the Thursday night game as it pertains to Antonio Gibson, like he's not the bell cow. He's not the bell cow, that he's not going to be the Christian McCaffrey workload. I have a very simple theory for that. Because J.D. McKissic got a lot of work, especially in the receiving game, bolstered a touchdown, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
It was Thursday. It was Thursday night. Generally speaking, this is not an exact science, but generally speaking, players or coaches want to play guys less who played a lot. Like in a Thursday game, they scale back their workload if they were heavily involved the previous game. We're way more likely to see second-tier guys do well on Thursdays because they're fresher than the starters on that short week quick turnaround. I am still very much a believer in Antonio Gibson. He has looked great on the field. Like, the numbers aren't there for fantasy yet because he hasn't scored a touchdown, but he looks good. He's averaging over 5 yards a carry. He looks strong running the football. He hasn't caught it a ton yet. But he can. Right. He can, and I still think he will. Maybe McKissic is more involved than I originally thought coming into the season, but again, I think he was more involved this past week 2, because Washington was playing on a short week. I fully expect Antonio Gibson to get the full workload again, go back to that week 3 on 10 days rest. Saquon is very interesting, but he's more of a question mark. He's more of a question mark.
Now
it is the time to buy low
on Barkley,
but I wouldn't do Gibson.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do Gibson.
Jaws Whedon.
I'm still a believer in Gibson.
Jaws Whedon asks, better Dino stash, Demetric Felton or Jarrett Patterson? Demetric Felton carries that dual eligibility, I think. Mm-hmm. At least he came into the NFL. He was a wide receiver, and they turned him into a running back.
I think he might maybe just has running back eligibility right now.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's correct.
All right.
I guess I would say Patterson because there's a clearer path to playing time, whereas right now the argument for Felton is if Kareem Hunt moves on after this year. But the Browns just locked Nick Chubb in. So Felton is not going to be anything other than a backup for the next 2 to 3 years. Maybe he's the number 2 in 2022. Maybe he is. Patterson might be the number 2 now. Well, I mean, McKissic is the change of pace guy. But if anything happened to Antonio Gibson, Patterson would step into that role.
Yeah,
if anything happened to Nick Chubb, I think Kareem Hunt still steps into that role, at least for this year.
If you remember what he did in the preseason, he had a very good preseason.
Yeah, I think I would say Patterson.
Very effective.
I think I would say Patterson. I'm intrigued by Felton. He had a good game, caught like a 50-yard touchdown or something crazy.
Right, but that was in a game where they did not have OBJ.
Right.
I believe Jarvis Landry was injured at that point, and was Anthony Schwartz benched yet?
I don't know about
in that game.
I don't know about Landry. I don't know if Landry was hurt at that point, and I don't know about Schwartz.
So I don't know how much
when Felton caught the touchdown. I'm not sure.
I don't know how much work Demetric Felton is going to be getting week in, week out. I think that might have been we got somebody here who was a wide receiver in the past, and we can throw him in there, and he can run a route for us and catch the defense off guard.
Yeah, I mean, we're in agreement here. I would give a slight edge to Patterson.
Yep.
I think he's a little closer to I think he's a little closer to playing time right now.
We got Nelson Enriquez. He says you guys are the best. Hey, thanks, man.
Hey,
thank you for subscribing. Hey, man. Yeah. Hey, all we're trying to do here is have interaction with all you guys out there.
Yeah, all we want to do is talk fantasy with the guys.
Yeah, man. We will answer anything you throw into
or
the
whomever.
Chat within reason. Don't be throwing anything crazy into the chat. Come on, bro. But we will we will answer any of your questions up to a certain point because dude needs to sleep at some point too. But
true.
Yeah, but it's not that time quite yet.
Not yet.
No, Brett Forsyth comes in for kicks. Point projection for Davis Mills' debut. How many points do I think Davis Mills is gonna have in fantasy? or point projection for the Texans?
I'll just like based off of his performance. I mean, look, there aren't too many defenses that have looked better than Carolina. Through 2 weeks, I think they lead the league in sacks. Houston's offensive line is, yeah. Now, Panthers have gone against the Jets, but they also went against the Saints. The Saints notoriously have a good offensive line. They might not have
shut them down.
They don't have this. They don't necessarily have the skill guys right now, but they still have Kamara, and they still have Sean Payton. And Winston just came off of a 5-touchdown performance, so that was an impressive showing by the Panthers. I'm not looking forward. If I'm Davis Mills, I'm not looking forward to playing this Panthers front seven.
He might give you like 10 fantasy points. 11,
yeah,
12.
maybe a little better. Maybe like say like 100, and I don't know that maybe he gets 200 passing yards from garbage time, maybe something like that. Maybe he throws a touchdown. It's gonna be. If he goes over 15 points, then hats off to Mills. Let's put it that way. Like standard quarterback, like 4-point passing touchdowns. Under 15 points, I would say 12 to 15, something like that. It's a tough matchup. It's a tough matchup. He does have Cooks. He has Brandon Cooks, but yeah, he's got nobody.
But that's all he has, right?
That's all he's got.
Because if you look, half of the other offense is on IR. Nico Collins is out, and Ndola's out a few weeks. So yeah, it's not. I'm not looking forward to starting Davis.
I would say 15 points. That would be like coming through for Mills.
Yeah. All right, Andrew McGrady says J-Rob, Miles Sanders, Corey Davis, Rondale Moore. Start one running back. Start one flex. And to me, it's Miles Sanders and either Corey Davis or Rondale Moore. It's who do you believe in more? I don't think it's J-Rob. Sadly, because I was weirdly high on J-Rob this season.
After the ETN injury, it wasn't weird. And actually, I liked him at his ADP at the time when ECM was healthy, because I never thought that Robinson was going to be phased out of the offense. What I didn't know was that Carlos Hyde was going to take his job. I might be being facetious there. 11 for 47. He still caught 3 balls. So like the usage is sort of there, but obviously it's nowhere close to what it was in 2020. They get the Cardinals this week, who have been good. I think Jacksonville's going to have to continue to throw because of the air raid offense. They're going to have to keep pace. Not that James Robinson can't catch passes, but he hasn't, it's not exactly like his bread and butter. Although he's got 9 targets. Robinson does. He's got 9 targets through 2 games, so that's not bad. I guess the scoring depends on it a little bit. I'm inclined to say Sanders and Corey Davis, I guess, and Corey Davis in a bounce back game where it's been he's the obvious number 1 for that team, whereas right. Rondale Moore, we're coming off a great game, but let me get the guy he's still the clear number 1 in the passing game, and that's Corey Davis for the Jets.
Right game for the Jets, right?
Yeah, or at least get better, right? Like at least get better.
Right.
I would go Sanders in what should be a plus matchup against the Cowboys, even though he hasn't come through yet, and Corey Davis.
All right, we got the end with all them H's with another question. Would someone accept Fournette or Michael Carter for Javonte Williams?
Would somebody?
So if you're sending out Fournette or Carter for Javonte Williams, no, I don't think so. I don't think anybody would accept that. You might be able to throw both of them at somebody and see if they'll hit accept, but
maybe both. Yeah, but I think Javonte Williams is still. Javonte Williams has not come through yet. As far as he hasn't scored, there hasn't been through 2 games. Like the fantasy production has been very blah, but the usage is there. He's involved. He's getting like 15 touches a week. I think he had 60 yards. He had 60 yards rushing on the ground. He caught a pass last week. I think so, maybe around like 70 total yards. It's coming. It's coming for Javonte Williams.
Yeah,
that's all I'll say.
And Trippy Philly, if you in Philly, what up, bro?
Yo, John's in Philly.
I'm in Philly. Nick's from Philly.
I'm from Philly.
Yep.
But I'm in LA.
What wide receiver do you think Higgins and Gaskin could get in a non-PPR? So if you sent Higgins and Gaskin, what wide receiver could you get in non-PPR? I mean,
Gaskin didn't do anything last week, right?
Right.
None of the Dolphins did. I mean, but Higgins did. Higgins came through. I would need. I mean,
you're just,
might be able to
Robinson?
ask for. I was gonna say Allen. I was just about to say Allen Robinson because he's off to a bit of a slow start. Yeah, I would.
And he's perennially been for the past 2 seasons. He's been wide receiver 12 with bad quarterback play, and now he gets Justin Fields full time, conceivably, right? That's what we're all projecting.
That's what we are eventually projecting.
Right. So this is
caught
the
a touchdown last week.
This is the time to buy Allen Robinson right now.
Yep. And a Higgins and Gaskin combo, that gets that done. And I'm acquiring the best player of the I'm acquiring Robinson. Yeah, that's who I would target.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. We agree, Joss Whedon. We agree.
Yeah.
He agrees that nobody would accept the
Fournette
or Carter
for Javonte. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just it. It's just a slight low ball. But you could try to throw both of them in for a trade and see if you can land them. Because, as Nick says, he's somebody that we are both really high on. Mateo Zamarsley, if I hope I said that right. I traded Saquon, Marvin Jones, and Pascal for Hill, Fournette, and Michelle in a 16-man PPR league. Saquon, Jones, and Pascal for Hill, Fournette, and Michelle. I love Hill.
Did we get the scoring?
PPR.
Full PPR, so Hill gets a big boost there.
I like the Saquon Jones Pascal side. I mean, Fournette,
Hill, Fournette, and Sony Michelle. I mean,
that looks good right now.
I think that's pretty fair.
Looks good right now because Michelle's in a position to be starting. For the next few weeks.
Saquon hasn't done too much
Marvin
to this
Jones
point.
looks like the number 1 wide receiver.
Marvin Jones
for
looks
the
good.
Jacksonville Jaguars, who are going to be down in every game, and you had Saquon
they are going to be down every game. That
Pascal.
defense is still bad. Pascal's a throw-in. Well, he was the one who had 2 touchdowns
week one.
Never. Sorry, week 2. Oh, I thought he missed the. Okay, I missed the Colts game clearly.
No, man, he's got some rapport with Carson.
Damn.
He does.
Okay. Crap. Yeah, is that a slight overpay for Tyreek Hill then? Might be.
Yo, Jay, I don't. There's somebody in the chat saying that passing up his questions. I don't see your question in here, bro. Where is it? Is it showing on the screen?
I wasn't looking at it.
I don't see it. It's not showing in my feed. Come on, YouTube. Can you put your question in there again? Can you throw your question in there again, Jay?
Sorry about that.
Yeah. That is not intentional. We just literally it's not in the feed that I'm going through. Throw it in there again.
We'll have to figure that out.
Yep. Blake Fowler.
I would say it was
didn't give an answer to Mateo.
I think it's a slight overpay for Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
I think it's a slight overpay for Tyreek Hill.
But we love Tyreek.
The more I think about it. Love Tyreek.
Yeah.
But Saquon could still be Saquon still has RB1 upside. So I would slightly prefer the Saquon side, but we'll see what happens. Tyreek is Tyreek.
And all right, let's run through a couple of these last questions, and then we're gonna call it a night with this live stream. But thank you again for tuning in, Jay. Put your question in there, bro. I don't see it.
If we miss you, drop it in the comments. We'll pick it up after the live stream if we have to.
But
hopefully
still,
that's not the case.
We're gonna run through these. Put it in the chat, and we'll get to it. I'm sorry, technology, bro. We just it's literally not in. It's not in.
Yeah.
All right, Blake Fowler. Should I start Brady over Josh Allen in week 3? I've been playing Allen, but he hasn't put up great fantasy points yet.
Yes.
Yeah, man, I think it is. The problem is, the Bills have a really good defense this year. And last year, the Bills with the COVID opt-outs and the injury bug, they didn't have a very good defense last year. They needed Josh Allen to wing it and sling it all over the field. They don't technically need that to win.
Well, Allen's still awesome. The argument in Allen's favor is Washington does not look like the defense that they were last year so far. They got torched by the Giants, and Daniel Jones was running it all over the place. So if Daniel Jones can run it all over the place, then so is Josh Allen. But Tom Brady is on another level right now. Like,
yeah, he's passing for 5 touchdowns in his sleep.
This feels like, I don't want to say it, but I'm just gonna say it. This feels a little like 2007, where Tom Brady is just lighting it up. And I know the Rams are not the nicest looking matchup on paper, but we've said this multiple times. We both expect that game where lots of points will be scored. I'm not so worried much about matchups when it comes to Brady.
Tom Brady was the quarterback 8 last year, and he was playing on torn MCL with a knee brace. With wide receivers, he didn't really have any rapport with coming into the COVID season. With the playbook, he didn't know, and got Brady. Antonio Brown halfway through the season. Like, it's now it's been go from the time we hit start on week 1, and he's 5 touchdowns a game.
He's doing it again.
It's crazy.
He's back at his old tricks.
Yeah.
Tom Brady's a fine wine. It doesn't make any sense.
It's incredible. I have nothing. And it pains me to say this as a Bills fan, but I have nothing but respect for the dude. Just because he left the Patriots. That's the only way that I can say it. If he was still on the Patriots, I couldn't bring myself to say that.
You couldn't bring myself to say it. That's fair enough. Yeah, no, Brady. Brady over Allen.
David Limborg. I just got offered A.J. Brown, Tyson Williams, and Jacoby Myers for Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith. I have Josh Allen as well on my bench.
Yes. It's a 1-quarterback league, guys. Like, based on Allen's on his. Yes.
I think so.
Yes. Take that deal.
Yep.
Yes.
Tyson Williams, 6.5 yards per carry average right now, man. He's killing it.
And A.J. Brown's a wide receiver. I like the Hurts Smith stack, but if you can acquire that
and I like grabbing Jacoby Myers on the back end there just as the last player in there, because I think he has a lot of upside.
Hit accept.
All right. Rendon Dye says, drop Will Fuller for Rondale Moore. What do you think?
So this is kind of the threshold right now this week, right? Like, Will Fuller feels like the drop candidate. I'm gonna kind of cop out with my answer. You won't hear a super big argument from me if you want to make that move. I have Will Fuller. I'm holding on to him until I see what happens. I know the Dolphins' offense is Tua might miss the game even if he plays. Is he, it's a step down from Deshaun Watson, so Will Fuller, maybe not as good, blah, blah, blah. I've seen Will Fuller do it. I've seen Will Fuller be a wide receiver 1 for fantasy on a points per game basis. I know Rondale Moore's off to a super hot start, and he's very enticing, especially with how he gets used. I'm holding Fuller until I see him. That's just me. If you could use a wide receiver who you feel a little bit more comfortable plugging in to, like, right now this week, like, I'm not starting Will Fuller this week, but I want to see him. I understand, but I'm going to hold Fuller. One more week.
Drizzy Jake says, I receive Diggs, Jacoby Myers, Tony Pollard, Baker Mayfield, Corey Davis for Russell Wilson, and Scary Terry. So you get Diggs, Myers, Pollard, Baker, Davis for Russell and Terry? I would do that.
The only thing that I would be concerned about there is, are you acquiring guys that you immediately have to put on your bench? That would be if you can start all these dudes and they're upgrades, and obviously Diggs is, but if the other pieces are upgrades over some of the other guys you have in your lineup, then yeah, that package is pretty big. If you can start them all, like maybe not every week, but most weeks, then yeah. If you're grabbing guys and they're gonna and at least 2 of those dudes are gonna sit on your bench every week guaranteed, then I might keep the Terry side because Terry's that good. But getting Diggs is pretty cool. So,
yo, Jay, I just went through the whole chat again to look for your question, and it is not there.
It's not there.
So
stupid
I'm
technology.
Sorry. Again, man, we were waiting for you to throw your question in there.
If he's
Justin asks, and Rendon Dye says, Jay, I don't see your question too. Yeah, we don't either.
Okay.
Jay, come on now, throw it in the chat. Justin, Ayuk for Javonte.
If you're acquiring Javonte at this point, yeah. I don't know what to make of Ayuk at this point. It's a disappointing development.
Is he in the doghouse? Is he Was last
He
year
got
an
opportunities week 2. He got
Yeah.
opportunities. He wasn't on the, yeah, I'm getting Javonte, and I'm not looking back. Yep.
Brady Marzella traded away Latavius Murray and AJ Brown for Najee Harris and T Higgins. Thoughts?
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty nice get.
That's a good get.
A startable piece and a guy that you weren't starting in Latavius for 2 startable pieces. Yeah.
That's a get. That's a good get.
Great.
Yep, like that move.
Yep. Great trade. Brett Forsyth, is Josh Allen and Devin Singletary a fair offer for Saquon Barkley and Antonio Gibson? What do you think?
If it's super flex, then yeah. I assume that's super flex. I think Brett said earlier he was in a super flex league. So if it's a super flex league, yeah, that's a fair. I don't know if you're gonna get it, but it's a fair starting point. Singletary's a significant downgrade. Obviously, like there's no competition or there's no argument between the 2 running backs you'd be acquiring. But Josh Allen in super flex and then if this is dynasty, is a difference maker at the position for the next 10 years. So, yeah, I would say that's a fair. I might decline it if I'm the Barkley Gibson side, but I'm ready to. I'll talk. We'll negotiate. But it's a good. I mean, Allen's a good starting point in Superflex there for sure.
Yeah. All right, guys, we are gonna really rapid fire through these one-word answers, and then we are gonna call it a night because
okay.
Yeah, an hour and 30 minutes at this stream.
Well, we appreciate that people are sticking around. But,
we really appreciate y'all for tuning in.
It's been a lot.
All right, Jay, I see your question finally popped up. All right.
There we go.
Zeke, Hawkinson, and Chase for Kittle, Alvin Kamara, Woods.
Hawkinson's off to such a strong start. It's Kittle, Woods, and then who was the third piece on the second side? Kittle, Woods,
Alvin Kamara.
Oh, Kamara. Versus Hawkinson, Zeke, and Chase. My heart says the Kamara side because Kamara's not off to a strong start, and this New Orleans Saints offense is something to be worried about. Jamar Chase looks like he's good. Yeah, I'm taking the Zeke side, the Zeke Hawk Chase side, because Hawk's off to a great start. I know Zeke's not off to like the best start, but I'm not overly concerned about Zeke yet. Remember that I'm throwing the week 1 game out the window. There were too many variables working against him that game. Jamar Chase looks good right away. Hawkinson looks like he's going to be in the conversation for top 3 tight end at worst. I would take the Zeke side. Now I can do one-word answers. I wanted to make sure we got Jay's question.
Drop Connor for Latavius Murray. Yes, no.
Yes.
Is Rondale Moore the next Tyreek Hill?
No.
Would you drop Will Fuller for Tony Pollard?
That I would do. Yeah, that I would do. If it's a running back, yeah.
How much fab would you use for Rondale Moore?
10%. Say 10% of your budget. If you need a wide receiver, maybe a little bit more, maybe 12%. I wouldn't go higher than that. If anybody wants to overpay, go for it. Not 90%. About 10% for Rondale Moore.
All right. DJ Moore and Damian Harris for Antonio Gibson, 10-man PPR.
I would take Gibson. I'm still a believer in Gibson. I'm acquiring Gibson. Cool.
But that's
sure.
That's a pretty
that's a pretty fair trade. Yeah. But I would take the RB, the guy who who I still believe in as an RB1.
Going through these, should Jace Bodwin? Sorry, bro. Gonna butcher your name. Should I trade for James Robinson?
You're not giving up anything other than like a couple of wide receiver 4s. Maybe a 3. Maybe 1 wide receiver 3. You don't want to be disrespectful. Yeah, sure. I mean, you could try to buy him low. He's not getting the workload that he was getting last year. So you're trying to acquire like maybe an RB2. So,
but I will say if that is dynasty,
then sure.
He is a free agent in 2023, at which point he will be 24. At which point, team's gonna probably pay him a
Somebody will pay him.
fair amount of pretty good. You know what I mean?
Decent contract.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at which point he might be startable again.
Maybe.
And he's still young. So in Dynasty, there you
Maybe.
go. Should Rendon Dye sell Deontay right now? You boy.
No. Unless you're getting a bona fide stud. No, I would keep Deontay because he avoided, by all accounts, he avoided major injury. Will he play this week? I don't know, but when it as it pertains to this conversation, I don't care. I'm keeping Deontay.
All right, Krabby Patty. Should I do this? Should I trade away Darnell Henderson? I guess it's Darrell Henderson.
Yeah.
Tyler Boyd. Yeah, Tyler Boyd and a 3rd round pick and the 8th round pick, and he gets Zeke in a 15th rounder. Deep rounds.
This is Dynasty, I assume. So no. No. I know Henderson is not on the same level as Zeke, but I still believe in Zeke for this year, but that's it. Zeke's coming to the end. The career touches is getting to that number where he's not worth a dynasty buy.
And that 3rd round pick is going to be valuable.
I would not do that deal.
Still a good wide receiver. Yeah.
I would not do that deal.
PPR league, would you trade Amari for AJ Brown and Gronk?
Yeah.
I would too.
Yeah.
I would too.
Yeah.
Who do you have at tight end? You say you're very bad at tight end. Who do you have? But yeah, I would do that. I would
still do that.
Let's see. Damian Harris or Melvin Gordon? I'm going Damian Harris.
Damian Harris.
Yep. Melvin Gordon had a good week 1 behind a crazy, insane run, but Damian Harris has had a touchdown or 100 yards in both
that
games
week.
this season.
That touchdown Sunday was awesome.
Yeah.
That run. Yeah, Damian Harris.
B asks, who should I offer for Saquon? I have CEH, Robbie Woods, Hollywood Brown, Hunt, Chase, Javonte Williams.
I would say maybe a package of Hunt and Hollywood and see if that gets it done.
Krabby Patty, we got to that one. Jay, thanks for the answer. Yeah, man. Hey, sorry. Technology wasn't with you. Hopefully,
or us, maybe.
Yeah, or us. Yeah, probably us. But yeah, hey, thanks for sticking around, and yeah, I'm glad we could answer your question.
Appreciate it.
And thank you for subbing. We appreciate you.
Appreciate that.
DJ Moore and Damian Harris for Antonio Gibson. Did we already get to that one?
We got to that one.
Yes.
I said I would take Gibson. Yep.
And Vader says thank you for that one. You're welcome, Vader. Yo, respect to your name.
Yeah. Love the name.
I wouldn't want to piss you off. Ew. We already got to that one. I get Allen Robinson and trade a 2nd round pick. In a dynasty in a dynasty league startup.
Robinson for a 2nd?
I would do that in a 2nd.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, play on words. Yes, I would acquire. Yes. Allen. Yes. I would take that.
And our last question here before we sign off. Pato Duck YT, Juwan Johnson or Kittle for week 3? Come on, bro. You gotta go. Kittle, bro.
That's
Come on, bro.
That's easy. That's Kittle.
Yeah.
Juwan's
all right,
not
last question here.
We
got last question. Because this guy called us sexy earlier. What up? Free Kicks USA says, hola, poppies. Who should I start with my flex, Allen Robinson or DJ Moore? He has Tyreek Hill at 1 and CD at 2.
I'm inclined to say Robinson. Oh, the Bears play Cleveland. Denzel Ward. That could be tough. DJ Moore. Oh, that's a Thursday night in Houston. Robinson. Slight edge to Robinson, but the matchup is not as good.
Yeah.
But Robinson.
Yeah. Yeah, I would go Robinson there too. But I like DJ Moore. I like DJ Moore a lot. That's
DJ Moore could. He has a much easier matchup.
Yeah, that's a tough.
That's a much easier matchup.
But yeah,
I would still give the slight edge to Robinson.
I think that about does it for tonight. Thank you guys. Thank you everybody for tuning in.
Thanks so much for tuning in.
Hey, Krabby Patty,
yeah.
thanks, you too. You have a good night too. You have a good night too, Krabby Patty.
Have a good night, guys.
And Uzi, yeah, you see, he comes in a little late. We're ending. I'm sorry, y'all. He says, "Yo, hola, papi." What up,
if there's any questions we like maybe trickling in at the end, I can try to get them if you post them in the comments of this video.
All right, we got
otherwise,
we gotta answer one more question. All right.
All right. Throw one more in.
No. Because JT86TN comes in with the super chat. Thank you for throwing the super chat at us. He says,
that.
"Who would you grab on waivers? Standard league, Patterson or Mooney? I would go Patterson or Mooney all day.
Mooney.
All day.
I would take Mooney. Standard, obviously, he's a little less valuable, but not a huge believer in Patterson based off his history as far as fantasy production. I'm a big believer in Mooney. Big believer in Mooney. Yeah. I would take Mooney.
Yep. Uzi, who do I start in standard? Tyson, DJ Moore, Mike Williams.
Aren't the Ravens playing the Lions? Tyson, right? Yeah, Tyson. Ravens are playing the Lions. The Lions have been gashed.
Yeah,
by
Elijah
running
Mitchell,
back so
week
far.
1, and Aaron Jones.
And Aaron Jones just killed them last night. Tyson.
Right.
Tyson.
Right. Gotta go Tyson. But yeah, all right. On that note, we end. Wait, one more question. New era TV. One more question. We're not answering any more after this.
Okay, after this one, we're done.
First on waivers, should I grab J.D. McKissick or KJ Osborne? I don't know.
Hold your waiver priority.
I don't know if any of those are number one waiver priority type dudes.
Hold your number one.
I like them
hold
both,
your waiver.
but they're not those guys.
Hold your waiver priority.
Yep. All right, now we're gonna end it. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you guys. Thanks so much.
Yep.
We'll see you Sunday for start sit help.
Yes, definitely. And tune in. We're gonna be having videos coming to you all week.
Yeah, and videos all week. Thanks, guys.
Have a good night, you guys.